Welcome to my channel, Sunshine Shoulders. I'm Calvin. Thank you so much for stopping by today, especially my new viewers and new subscribers. Your kindness, your generosity, your support of my channel. It's truly been amazing. I'll never take that for granted. I'm a 58-year-old American who grew tired of the rat race, decided to move to the Philippines in search of a new life. Well, I found that new life, and I'm going to share with you my boots on the ground experiences, only way I know how, by giving you the nitty gritty. This is exactly what I'm seeing, what I'm living, what I'm experiencing. I'm never going to sugarcoat that. It's not going to start today. The subject of my vlog today is virginity has its privileges in the Philippines. You know, there's nothing like the first time. It's the best time. And that goes for your first trip to the Philippines. I guess it's like when you drink for the first time or get high for the first time, you'll chase that feeling for the rest of your life. But you'll never be able to recapture that first time. And that's how it is when you come over here and you get off the plane. You're so excited. I was up for about almost 48 hours the first time I got here. I slept for about 2 hours and was awakened in the hotel by the traffic moving around in Cebu City and just that distinct sound of the horns over here. You know, that dan, dan, you know, it's not like that the full sound of horns that we have over in America. It's got that, you know, this distinct sound, and it woke me up. And I didn't go back to sleep. I went downstairs. I took my shower, put on my clothes, went downstairs, stepped outside, man, and the heat grabbed a hold of me. I mean, it really messed me up, because when you come over here, man, you gotta make sure you get some rest when you get off that plane. I don't care what time it is. And because it's your first time, bring as much money as you can afford and stay as long as you can, because it's nothing like the first time, man. You're never gonna recapture, man, the excitement. And I've been over here, I've made 25 round trips over here. But that first time, see, and Filipinos, they love it when it's your first time. See, they're proud of this country and they want to show it off to you. And especially the women. See, I call you a Philippine virgin when it's your first time coming over here. And if you come over here and you stay, you're considered an expat virgin. And the women really love that over here. They want to be your first, your last, your everything. They want to introduce you to the culture. They want to teach you your first words of Tagalog or Visayan. Take you around and show you all the tourist spots. I mean, Filipinos roll out the red carpet for you, but when they know it's your first trip here, it's the brightest red carpet, man, you've ever seen. I mean, you really do get that celebrity treatment. And I tell you, man, you better absorb it all in, because it's never the same after that. So, and of course the roosters, you hear them, but yeah, that first trip here to the Philippines, man, I tell you. Hey, good morning, Buntag. It's like none other, man. And I've been around the world. I've been to Rio de Janeiro, I've been to Cartagena, Colombia, Cancun, Mexico. Nothing compares to stepping off that plane here. So yeah, you're a Philippine virgin, expat virgin. You're gonna enjoy some privileges, man. One is that rock star treatment. So hold on to it as long as you can, because you'll never be able to recapture it. And something else that you're gonna be a virgin to, and that's the poverty here. Now there's poverty all over the world. You know, I grew up poor, according, hey, good morning, to the American standards, but nothing like over here. And you're either going to embrace it or you're going to run from it. But you'll never be the same after you encounter and witness the poverty and the levels of poverty over here. But let me say this. Filipinos, they aren't ashamed of their poverty, though. When you go over somebody's house, and of course it's not going to look like what you're used to, they're not going to be ashamed because they know that they're doing the best they can under often trying conditions, but you're going to get a spiritual awakening over here. Philippines is going to change you. I don't care if you're the hardest, biker, a thug, a tough guy. When you leave this place and you go back to your home country, you're going to kiss the ground. You're never going to look at life the same again. Good morning. The first time you see little kids out on the street fending for themselves, y'all saw my video the other day when I bought those little kids some fish balls. The little boy couldn't have been no more than 10, but the little girl was probably 2 or 3. Good morning. And you see that a lot here, and you can't wrap your mind around it. You're like, where are their parents? But they're doing the best they can over here. But you're gonna have a whole different outlook when you leave this place. And that's why I always suggest to you, I say, hey, look, man, when you get over here, sponsor a family, 25-kilo sack of rice. Hell, it's $20, that's nothing. And some guy says, well, how do you do that? I said, man, you're gonna have a million chances by the time you leave. I mean, your girlfriends, somebody in her family, they can point you in the right direction. You're gonna see it. And that bag of rice is gonna last a family of 4 about 30 days. Rice is gold over here. It's a staple of their diet. But some of the poverty you're gonna see over here, it's gonna shake you awake, man. You're gonna be like, wow. But you're either gonna embrace it or you're gonna run from it. There's no other way. I live among the locals, man. I see it. I've embraced it. I don't live an extravagant lifestyle over here because it would be an affront to a lot of my friends over here if I did that. I've got a bicycle, man. I do that on purpose, man. But yeah, the poverty over here, when you experience it for the first time, when you're a virgin to the poverty over here, it's going to grab a hold to you, man. It's going to shake you to the core. So just be prepared for that. But there's a privilege that comes along with that. You get the spiritual awakening and you become a better human being. Now, for some reason, and I've got my own take on this, there's a lot of virgins here, men and women. And you're going to notice that. And I'm going to give you my 2 reasons, I think. Well, my take on it. Number 1, the culture here is very religious. Pre-pandemic, the churches stayed packed. Filipinos pray all the time. They pray before they drive their cars and motorcycles. They pray when they get on the bus. They pray before they eat. They pray after they eat. They bless you on your way, going and coming. And that's all part of their religious teachings. They want to save themselves for marriage. Good or bad, however you look at that. But that's one of the reasons they do it. But another reason is things tend to come hard over here. And see, Filipinos are fast learners. And they look around and they see the problems that their friends and families are encountering by having sex, having too much sex, having babies, not being able to take care of them, and the immense responsibility goes along with it. And they say, I'm going to hold off. I'm going to focus on my job. I'm going to focus on my career. I'm going to focus on, helping my family. I'm going to focus on my education. And it's a laser focus. And before you know it, they look up, they're 30 years old, never had a boyfriend or girlfriend before. Over here they call them old maids. But the privilege of that is very seldom have I met a real virgin here. And I'm talking about not somebody 18 or 19 who hasn't even had time to see the world, but I mean a real virgin, 25, 30, 35, that wasn't successful. See, because they have a laser focus, man. You look up, you'll see them, they're the managers at Jollibee. They're the manager at the bank. You know, they're building a home in the province. You know, they're taking care of their families. They're sending their nieces and nephews to college. And you can just look at them and see that they've got, all Filipinos are proud, but they just got a different pride about themselves. So yeah, people ask me all the time, man, what about the virgins over there? Yes, a lot of them. And that's just my take on it. I think that it's because they're religious, and it's because Filipinos learn fast. You know, they're not stupid. They're going to say, hey, I seen what my sister went through, having those children, you know, didn't finish school, don't really have a good enough job to provide them with the life that they deserve. So I'm going to hold off. But then, hey, man buntag. As if by magic, one day they just wake up and they meet somebody and they get married, they have a family. I knew a woman like that down in Zamboanga City. I just say her first name is Carolyn. She was well in her 30s, virgin, successful on her job, got plenty of promotions. Then all of a sudden, as a shock to her family, friends, and everybody else, she met a seaman, fell in love. But that's just how it is. But yeah, you're going to meet a lot of virgins over here. And with Filipinos who decide to hold off on sex and having their families, there's a privilege that comes along with it. They're successful. I mean, a lot more successful than the average Filipino. You know, the last thing I'll talk about is, you know, the first time I went up in those mountains that surround St. Carlos City, I tell you what, man, it was like nothing I'd ever experienced before. When you get way up in that Don Salvador, Benedicto Mountains region, I mean, you're so high up there that it's like you're flying. And it's a part of the Philippines that many of us never experienced. We always stay on the ground in the cities, at the beaches, but the mountains, man, in the Philippines, I tell you, it's just an unknown secret, really. A lot of the people now who can and who can afford to do it, if they weren't born up there, they're starting to move up there in those mountains. The land is cheaper, the air is cleaner, it's cooler. And it's an experience that you don't want to miss. And the first time that you go up there, I mean, I can't even hardly describe it. I made a few short videos, but I didn't post them, that I watch over and over on my phone. Whoever thought of running that road through those mountains from St. Carlos City to Bacolod City was a genius. I mean, a visionary. There's no telling how long they must have taken to do that, because it cuts the time between St. Carlos City and Bacolod in half. If you go the other way, the long way they call it, where they go through all those little cities and towns and hamlets and provinces, it takes you almost 5 hours. When you go through those mountains, it takes you a little bit over 2 hours. And depending on the traffic and how many people catch the bus and how many times it stops, sometimes close to 2 hours, man, and you're there. But when you go up there and you see, there's a whole new life up there. People are getting away from the hustle and bustle here, but there's a whole cities up there. I mean, provinces, and it's just something that I promise you, man, you need to see when you get over here in the Philippines. When on my last video, I advised you, I said, look, when you come here, make out an itinerary. Plan your trip over here, because there's so many places to see. There's so much to do over here. You're never going to see it all. I met a gentleman, he was an American, he had been over here 22 years. He said he just scratched the surface. I've been here on and off for 12 years, man. It's just, it's just too much to see. It's too spread out. I mean, there's so many once-in-a-lifetime destinations here, but going up in those mountains is one. Temperature is about 10 to 15 degrees cooler. I mean, it's a serenity and a tranquility that you will never experience on the ground here. We met a couple Saturday, and they took us on their spread. They're going to build a house, and it's a well-to-do couple. But they got like 35 hectares up there, and they built like a rest spot. Then they're raising turkeys and native chickens up there. They got a CR. Then they're going to build several houses, they said, for their family members. I guess their sons and daughters. Because I think she's 51 and the husband's 56. And man, they just let me in on a secret that I never even considered. But now, you know, once I build this house here, I'm going to buy me a small plot up there and just have them build me a rest spot. You know, it's just like a kubo where you can sit, read, you know, maybe have a small CR built up there. And, you know, when I want to get away, you know, I wouldn't stay all night or anything. But it's very relaxing, man. So, yeah, virginity has its privileges in the Philippines. Especially on your first trip here. Guys, look, ladies and gentlemen, when you come here for the first time, bring as much money as you can afford. Stay as long as you can. There's nothing like the first time. You're going to chase it for the rest of your life. You'll never be able to recapture it. Poverty. Hey, Ma'am Buntak. Ma'am Buntak. You won't be able to wrap your mind around it, but it's going to change you. You're going to have a spiritual awakening, and you'll never be the same again. See, people always come over here trying to change the Philippines. You can't change the Philippines, but the Philippines can change you. Yeah, there's a lot of virgins over here, men and women. And they're successful, the ones that I've met. They're religious. They have a laser focus. They've decided, you know what, Man Buntak, they've decided that they're going to hold off on having children, having families, and focus on their jobs, their careers, helping their families, their education. And as a result of that, they live pretty good here. And also, if you're a virgin to going up in the mountains in the Philippines, it's going to be an experience like none other. When I went up there for the first time, it was like I was flying. I had that same type of feeling. And I was looking out the bus window. It's a life that many of us don't experience over here because we're stuck on the ground all the time. So make it a point to come up here, whether it's Baguio. I mean, see, that's one of the things that we very seldom hear about over in the West is this mountain ranges over here. Make it a point to visit that. So thank you so much for stopping by today. I really appreciate it. If you're in America, it's getting late. Before you let your head hit the pillow, I hope you find somebody to help. Here's my little daughter and her grandmother. She's learning to walk. Well, she can walk now, but I guess her grandmother's getting her exercise this morning. Hey, booby. Look at boo. But if you're on one of them late grocery runs, beer runs, weed runs, you're just getting off second shift, or you're on your lunch break, you see somebody in the street, buy them something to eat, buy them something to drink, give them a few dollars. If you're in the Philippines, it's very early, probably about 7 o'clock in the morning. Got the whole rest of the day to go out and intentionally find somebody to help. Millions of people here who need our help. Because if I don't know anything else, I know this one thing for sure. When we help other people, we help ourselves. Take care, stay safe, stay COVID free. I'll see you next time. Hey, boo, wave at everybody. Coco Melon!